Here's the burning question. Was he fired on Sunday night, or did he just elect to walk away and retire? Brady Hoke is out as football coach, effective at the end of the season at San Diego State. Aztec football is not what it used to be. San Diego State was 7-6 last season. They're 3-7 this season. That's kind of hard to believe that this program has slipped into the abyss of 10-13 and seems to be headed in the wrong direction. I was mad. I was sad when I got wind of this about 8:30 on Monday morning. They officially released it in the 9 o'clock hour. My gut feel was I wish he would have been able to stay one more year to see if they could flip this thing back. I don't know if this is cyclical, that you have good programs that have dips. I don't know whether this is an examination that they've made so many mistakes that the sides of the wall have caved in. Honorable man, good guy. Obviously, you don't win at Ball State. You don't win at Michigan. You don't win at San Diego State if you don't know X's and O's and if you can't handle the ABCs of people relationships. I think he did a good job at SDSU, but it's not right now what it used to be. They have never been the same since the COVID era. Remember, the Aztecs forced out of town for 2 years, COVID and the teardown of Qualcomm Stadium to build Snapdragon Stadium. Out of sight, out of mind. They've never recovered. The shiny new stadium opened. Athletic department, I think, made some terrible decisions as it relates to pricing of anything and everything at Snapdragon. Football product has never been good since the first kickoff of the first game against Arizona, and now it's terrible. I mean, they had just over 14,000 for homecoming. They lost 5,600 season ticket holders after year one. They're playing at only 55% capacity of this shiny new stadium. Everybody thought by this time we'd be talking Aztecs equal Pac-12 football. That blew up. Nobody likes the Mountain West Conference. They got a quarterback crisis they've not been able to solve. There's just a lot of real internal problems with this program. And now the guy who did a good job resurrecting it is going to exit in 2 weeks. San Diego State, John, went through 11 non-winning seasons in a row. Ted Tollner, Tom Kraft, the Chuck Long era of error. Then Brady Hoke came. Then Rocky Long came. Then Brady Hoke returned. Their composite record with those guys as head coach is 120-68 since 2003. That's pretty good. But program right now not held in very high regard by football fans in the community. I am shocked that our non-NFL community has not wrapped its arms around a program. It was 120-68 under Rocky Long and Brady Hoke. Can they dig their way out? Sure they can. Is it going to be easy? No, it's not going to be easy. There's a bunch of things that are working against San Diego State and working against everybody in the Mountain West Conference. I think the schools in the Mountain West have just been buried because of the NIL situation. I don't know anybody in the Mountain West that's got dollars and cents that matches anything anywhere else in the country. It's just a dirt poor conference, smaller markets, smaller alumni, and have not been able to raise funds. I don't think San Diego State's got a very good NIL program for football. It's a basketball school, and they're doing really well. That's a negative. You add into that the transfer portal. Everybody in the Mountain West is taking hits. Big guy shows up, phone call made, you lose your quarterback, you lose your running back, you lose your wide receivers. Everywhere in the Mountain West Conference, they're getting rated by schools taking their marquee player. That's a big negative. I don't think San Diego State has ever recovered from the cloud cover from the Matt Ariza incident, the allegations, the investigation, the mishandling. I just felt in my heart it wasn't the same program after J.D. Wicker and Brady Hoke got up and walked out of the first press conference 2022 last year, refusing to take questions about the Ariza situation. When all the cameras are rolling, those guys got up and walked out. It was a lead story on all the news events. I don't think the community ever forgave them for how they, quote, handled that piece of adversity. And then you got the quarterback mess. I'm not going to blame Braxton Burmeister specifically. Virginia Tech quarterback waited till the final minutes and then said, okay, I'll come. He was waiting for offers. I don't think he ever wanted to be here. Didn't get the offers. He came here, got hurt early, hardly ever contributed, played, vacated before the bowl game. They've never recovered from that quarterback crisis. Will Haskell transferred out, flunked out, bailed out, whatever term you want to use. They've had 5 quarterbacks leave the program in 2 years. Jalen Maiden has been Jekyll Hyde, part last year starter, this year starter, not real trustworthy, not real consistent. That's a mess. There's an image of San Diego State now is playing Neanderthal football. It's not sexy, there's no neon lights, but there's a lot of substance to what they've done, run the football and play great defense, but it doesn't turn the community on anymore. John, they got so many problems with the football program that are going to have to be repaired, and I feel bad that Brady Hoke was not given another year to try to see if they could rally this thing back. And your reaction?
Well, this is huge news. I mean, the Twitter community is on fire. They've been calling for Brady Hoke's head for months, and now finally the hammer was dropped. You know, I watch the games on TV and they zoom in on Hoke and the expression on his face when he's dealing with all the adversity on the field. Sometimes he doesn't look like he believes that there is a solution here. You can see that he's partly emotionally given up. But the question I have for you, Lee, is JD Wicker going to pay like that? What is it? $5 million buyout? Is that going to happen?
Well, first of all, I'm a big believer in body language and reading between the lines and talking to guys off the record. One of two things with Brady, and I like Brady. I've known Brady a long time. I think he's either fed up or he's pissed off. He can't handle all the periphery stuff that's gone on around the program, which makes the job harder and harder. And then the quarterback crisis on top of it, and just the fact that there's more empty seats than there are fans in the stands. So I'm like you, my observations, I know this guy. This guy's not been right for maybe the last year and a half. $5 million buyout, that's an absurd amount of money for a football program at this level. You can always work payments, deferred payments, payments down line. He's made a lot of money. He doesn't need the money a week from Monday. So you can work deferrals that makes it workable for the university. I think they'll solve that. Where do they go? I'm going to post some names that I think, if I were king, because I know everything about everything on this podcast, I would call David Shaw the legendary Stanford coach.
Oh, yeah.
I like him a great deal. There's a veteran coach who had success at Houston, at the University of Texas, Tom Herman. Sean Lewis came from Kent State, did a phenomenal job, joined Deion Sanders' staff as offensive coordinator at Colorado, but just got demoted. He's a head coach waiting for the next job. I think he's a real sharp dude. I'd look at Sean Lewis. Bronco Mendenhall rebuilt Brigham Young, very different atmosphere, went to Virginia, rebuilt Virginia, burned out, left for a year. Bronco Mendenhall is out there. So those are proven commodity guys. Now, if you're looking for more recent guys, you want to fix the offense. You want to get fans in the stands. You got to throw the bleeping ball. You got to get quarterbacks that can throw the ball down the field. Nick Rolovich fixed Hawaii, went to Washington State, couple of decent seasons. Now he left under a cloud cover in a fist fight and a lawsuit about the COVID vaccine. Nick Rolovich is still a pretty good coach. Mike Thiessen. I know him. You probably don't know him. Fans out there don't know him. Mike Thiessen's a longtime offensive coordinator, Air Force Academy. Played at the academy, quarterback, graduated the academy, stayed there, and has done a phenomenal job with that coaching staff. He might be ready to be a head coach after 14, 15, 16 years working at the academy. Guy I like that's got a job, has done a good job in a really tough situation. I really like Brent Brennan, San Jose State.
Oh, wow.
He fixed that thing. That thing was down and dead. I like him. And a guy that I like was here, went to the Big Sky Conference, and all he's done since he got there is win. Bobby Hauck. He was here with Rocky Long for an extended period of time, jumped ship 3 years ago. All he's done with the Grizzlies is win. They're, of course, in 1AA. Those are just hot names off the top of my head. Who hit your button?
Those are all interesting names here, but the question I have is San Diego State an attractive job for these guys? Because on one level, you're thinking, hey, this is an up-and-coming university, new stadium, San Diego State West. But everyone else is looking at Brady Hoke and all the NIL and transfer portal challenges he has. They don't want to maybe go from a Power 5 down to a Group of 5 because they're going to be hands tied behind their back.
Well, they're still a Group of 5. They're not going Power 5. There's no conference to go to.
Right.
There's no Pac-12.
But they're going to be at a disadvantage. So that would be a tough move.
Except it's a head coaching job, facilities, you're living in the sunshine.
Yeah, that's true.
And by the way, it's a clean piece of paper. You come in the door, you go get quarterback that can throw the football. You make this a vibrant offense, dating back to not just the Air Coryell Division II days, but Al Luganbill, Marshall Falk, David Lowry, Billy Blanton. They were packing them in there.
Yeah, they were.
Clean piece of paper. So you hire somebody that's got credentials, offensive mind, can go get what they've not been able to get recently under Rocky and Brady, quarterbacks who can throw, receivers who can run. Now, the financial thing, that's going to take time. It's still a Division I job. It's not New Mexico State, where there is no hope whatsoever. That's my theory as to how you do it. But I'll tell you, and I like this athletic director because he runs a good program, a good academic athlete program. They got the stadium built on time at cost. They survived the COVID crisis being a road team with no fans. But this is on his watch. The mess at Snapdragon, the failure to market this thing, the price gouging, and now he made the decision to get that coach out of here. So J.D. Wicker right now, on his watch, it's his program, and he better fix his program. Response.
Well, I'm thinking about Ryan Lindley. What happened? We were so optimistic with him when he came in as the offensive coordinator, and the offense has just been deplorable.
Offensive line, young offensive line. They've been damaged in the transfer portal 2 years in a row. They've probably lost 4 starters over 2 years. They're playing all young pups learning on the job, and there's no guarantee they can keep those kids because the phone keeps ringing from somebody else wanting to talk to that kid, or the parent of the kid is making phone calls.
Yeah.
Hey, my son might be available to transfer us in the Pac-12. Would you be interested? Oh, by the way, what are you paying? I mean, this is a myriad of problems. But you got that, then you got the inconsistencies with Maiden. But if you can't pass protect, and the quarterback is hot and cold, and you can't run the football now the way they used to run the football, the defensive collapse has been shocking to me, because these are kids that have been in the program, and these are athletes that have played well, and they're not playing well there. But that's a whole new defensive front. You can't get to the quarterback. You can't create pressure. And those quarterbacks are standing back there looking down the field and throwing chunk plays. So I think you can fix this. It's got to be the right head coach to fix it. And it's got to be the right head coach that's going to get this town excited.
Well, imagine, if you will, there was another Deion Sanders. Would you want to go for a guy like that that's going to bring all the flash and the sizzle and some legitimate great, recruiting capabilities? Or are you going to go for the tried and true guy that's paid his dues, that's an offensive coordinator or head coach somewhere else that maybe we've only sort of heard about?
I don't know how you circumvent the shortcoming of money for NIL. That's a big piece of this equation. But I think you call David Shaw. I mean, that's a quality person, quality coach.
No doubt.
Who worked in a tough situation at Stanford, which is a very different venue than anywhere else in the Pac-12 conference. I think you make the calls to those guys that are on my list and just gauge the interest. The job, it might be worth $1 million, $900,000 a year. But for first-time head coach, that's not a bad haul, because you can always grow it. And if the guy's here for 3 years and has success and vaults somewhere else, so be it. Thank you for the 3 years you put us back on the football map. Big story. Me, you, the dogs. I guess we're the only ones that care about San Diego State, because I don't see many alumni nor fans responding to this situation. Okay, we go from that, because